Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Humanitarian Horizons, Christina DiArcangelo Unveiled. I almost wanted to say I am Christina DiArcangelo, but that was season one, and we're not going backwards. We're going forward. So today I'm doing a podcast solo, and you're probably wondering, why is Christina so dressed up today for a podcast? And it is because I just came back from the local county court because one of the defendants was supposed to be entering a guilty plea in the crime that was committed against my mother. Just as a refocus, my mother was a victim of elder abuse in general. One of the defendants has already entered an open guilty plea. And the second one, the main person that I feel that came up with the whole idea to commit the crime against my mother, was supposed to enter into a guilty plea today and did not. So you can see probably the look of shock on my face. I took the day off. I went in, I secured obviously a sitter for my son, being a single mom, and I rearranged my schedule so that I could have the morning free and into the afternoon, because with court, you never know how long it'll take because it's all a big docket of court cases that the judge has to hear. So I went into the courthouse early this morning, and when I got there, I went down the hallway and I sat down waiting to go into the courtroom, and the defendant, unknowingly, I hope, now that I have braids, I don't know that he knew it was me. He was talking about his crime. He was talking about my mother. He was talking about me. What's most upsetting about this was that he was talking about my mother. And as all of you know, who have been following me or heard podcasts, my mother passed away January 13th of 2023. It wasn't very long after I had gotten her out of the basement, which was March 22nd of 22, that she had passed away. She passed away 1 year and 4 days after my brother's death. So it was a very, very, very difficult time. I'm still grieving the loss of my mother, especially since it was so close to my brother. My mother and I had worked on our relationship. This crime, that's one of the things that I'm thankful about, because you always have to look at things for the positive, right? That's at least what I try to do. So our relationship was very good. As a matter of fact, before she died one night, we had a very long conversation about things that she felt that she wanted to talk to me about. And I listened, and I still remember that conversation very clearly. So to hear this person who committed egregious crimes against my mother, but obviously against my family. The house that he was trying to steal was my father's. My father had worked very, very, very hard from the time he was a steel worker. That's when he bought the house initially. So he was in his early 20s, and they had me. I actually was 2 years old when we moved into the house. So this is the house I grew up. My brother was later born, about 2.5 years later, and he came home to this house. This was his first home. And this is the same home that my father worked towards paying off when he became a turnpike worker. And he worked all that overtime so that he had enough money to be able to have a wonderful pension so he could retire and live a good life. And also, when he passed away, because he had cancer and he knew this, he wanted to make sure my mom had enough money to live on. So he worked and worked and worked to pay this house off. And it was a very nice Cape Cod. And these defendants decided that they wanted the house. And that was one of the reasons why they decided to do what they did and lock my mom in the basement, take my father's pension money, take my father's Social Security money, take my mom's Social Security that she was receiving, not pay any of the bills. I mean, I could go on and on with all the things. Damage the house. The house went up for sale because my mom needed the money because she had no money. And these people are going around talking about that was their house. The things that I heard today, and I won't go into great detail for obvious reasons, the things I heard that came out of this gentleman's mouth were horrific. And personally, I believe the reason why he may have decided to do what he was doing was, especially when he was attacking me personally, talking about how he wouldn't have been arrested for this crime. He made comments that the police didn't want to arrest him, that they thought these charges were drummed up, all these things that are not true. Obviously, this is when somebody wants to make themselves feel better. They're at court for a reason, whether they're innocent or guilty, they're there for a reason. So I believe that he felt the necessity to say these horrible things to make himself feel better. But also, I saw for myself and heard for myself some of the things that my mom would say that he did, the way he talked to her, the way he screamed, the words he used, that antagonistic behavior. At one point, he got up and walked down the hallway to the left of him, which is where I was sitting, was to the left, and walked right by me and was muttering things under his breath when he was walking by me. Was he trying to intimidate me? I don't know. I can't make any claims, obviously. I don't know why he did that, but I'm here to say and to let you all know that this is really upsetting. The justice system, as it is, already has a difficult time. When you have defendants like this who are clearly guilty and were yesterday willing to plead guilty to these charges, which was a plea agreement. Let me remind you, it was a plea agreement. And I guess he woke up this morning and decided, no, I'm not going to do that. And he changed his mind. And this is a complete waste of everyone's time. It's not just about me and my time. It's not just about my son, that had to be babysat instead of, doing what he normally does in the morning with his mom, enjoying his time in the morning with me being here with him, although I'm working. We're together. And, I had to leave and go down there and obviously get myself ready for this situation, which is very emotional. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is not a fun time. And I wonder if people do these things because they think that they're going to intimidate you, or if they think that you're going to give up. Listen, I don't give up. Okay. That's one thing I can tell you. And I think you all know, I don't give up. I will not give up. This is in my mom's, what I'm doing. My mom deserves justice. Remember, she died without the charges being filed. She thought when she died that they were not going to file the charges and that these guys got away with it. And these are the things that she would talk to me about all the time. She was fearful. The ways that that the one defendant behaved towards her was horrific. She already had mental health issues. This just made it worse. They were not always giving her mental health medicines. There was a lot of things that happened. There was a lot of abuse that she endured. But here, this house that she moved into in her early 20s that she was so excited to have with my father, that my father worked so hard to pay off, was in jeopardy. And she was locked of it, basically. So I just worry about the taxpayers' money in these kinds of situations. Because think about it. The judge, she gets paid to do her job. This is now an issue that keeps getting extended. The ADA, the assistant district attorney, same thing, takes up a lot of her time. There's a lot of cases that are going on in the world. I mean, come on, everybody knows the world we live in. For goodness sakes, we're in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania where someone tried to assassinate our president, our ex-president, Donald Trump. I mean, holy cow. And I know that if any of the people that follow me are in the Commonwealth and live in Chester County, they know we have a lot of crime. So there's a lot of things that these guys are responsible for their job, right? And so when somebody does this to just further delay the inevitable, I mean, he's not going to walk away with nothing. That's not what's going to happen here. There's so much evidence. There had to have been evidence for them to be able to file the charges. A judge signed off on that initially. And so I just wanted to jump on here and give you guys an update. And I just kind of wanted to share some of this with you so that you understand yet again back in the situation where we're fighting. And I will continue to fight. This was my mother. This is my son's grandmother. This was my father's wife. This was my brother's mother. She had friends. She was a sister. She was somebody's child. My grandparents have already passed away. So luckily they didn't witness any of this horrificness that had happened to my mom. And I'm just very saddened that we're where we are with all this. And I look forward to the day that I can shoot a podcast about this topic and say that, yes, we've gotten through whatever it is and we've reached an agreement and this is where we are. I just want people to remember to keep pushing forward. Don't lose hope when people try to, divert you, I guess, or break you down or whatever the intention is behind these types of behaviors. Just remember to stand firm, keep your head up, and remember who you are. I know who I am. And as I started to say when I first launched the podcast this morning or afternoon now, I almost said, and I am Christina DiArcangelo, but I am Christina DiArcangelo. And I'm very proud of the person that I am. And I'm very proud of what I do as a human, as a humanitarian, as an advocate. My job is to always give people a voice. And even though my mom's not here anymore, I'm here to make sure that her voice is heard through me. So thank you. Thank you for listening today, and keep on following me for updates. And I just so appreciate you. Until I see you again on another podcast. Have a wonderful day.